Hey, everybody. Welcome to Suds. Don't forget to get your raffle ticket from the bartender for a set of tickets to next week's game.
Okay, we are live.
Well, everybody, here we are with episode 2, season 2 of the Bronco Alumni Show here on the Suds Sports Network. With us in studio today, we have Bart Hendricks to start off with.
That's me.
Bart, how's it going?
It's fantastic.
Well, first of all, I want to introduce myself. I'm Jason Turner. This is my co-host, John Hanigan.
Hello, everyone.
We are the Bronco Alumni Show, along with you, the alumni. So, Bart Hendricks, man, again, how are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. It's a nice, humid day, and I can't complain too much.
Yeah, I mean, we all could complain, but it's whether or not we're going to.
Absolutely, and nobody's going to listen to us, right?
No one cares.
That's correct. Do you want me to bring him in the right way? Or?
Yeah, let's
All right, here we go.
See it.
Hey, we're joined by Bart Hendricks, quarterback for the Boise State Broncos, 97 to 2000. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay, number 17, I have written down here, you are the quarterback for the first bowl victory for Boise State. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, the first Division I bowl game for Boise State.
And also, were you the quarterback to end the famous Vandal streak?
That was not me.
That was not you.
That was the interesting stat, though. I don't know if this can be some bar trivia for you. The last quarterback to lose to Idaho, the last starting quarterback to lose to Idaho.
Oh, okay.
Is sitting in between you guys right now.
Well, I'm sorry about that. My co-host gave me some incorrect information.
That was Tony Hildy. That was the '94 team. The team that has been talked about in the news this week. The last team to play Marshall. That was the '94 team. They were the ones that beat Idaho and ended the 12-game win streak, which right now it's at a 12-game win streak for us. But we haven't played them in
just stuck in time, that 12-game win streak.
Yeah.
And Bart, we were talking before the show, your current position, gift planning
officer here with Boise State. It's in the University Advancement Office. It's fundraising, just in a different kind of asset. Think of it as an appreciated asset. Think of it, instead of just handing over a check, maybe we're looking at something like stocks, maybe a piece of real estate, maybe
something that can grow.
Something that has grown already, and a donor may no longer need, or from a tax advantage standpoint, it'd be more beneficial to them to donate to Boise State, and we'll use it. We'll take it.
Okay. Yeah. And how would anyone that's interested be able to get a hold of you?
Well, you can find me online at boisestate.edu/giving. The Planned Giving office has a website there, or you can just go to plannedgiving.boisestate.edu as well. And you can call me, 208-426-2813. I think that's my number. You got to forgive me. I've only been in the office for a few months, and I still can't remember my new number.
we forgive you. We'll go look it up later and post.
I think that's it. It's 426-2813.
Okay.
Or shoot me an email, barthendricks@boisestate.edu.
Or come on down, see him live. He's right down here at Suds right now. First of all, we'd like to, if you're watching this, we appreciate it. Just keep it on, keep your phone on, and come on down to Suds and get a drink, because there's still room.
There's a few more seats available at the bar.
Yes, definitely.
I will say it's been a while since I've ventured into the Suds Tavern. During my heyday, I was a frequenter, but now that life has made me a dad and a husband, I don't get down here.
He'll be back.
Well, thank you for having me come in.
That seems to be the theme of our show. Everybody's excited to be in the bar. I don't know if they're excited to be with us. Yes.
A bar. I haven't been in one of these since I was actually in school.
We need some younger people on the show.
The recent alumni.
Yes,
right. I just want to say again, everybody head on down to Suds right now, because we are just getting started, folks, and we need somebody to give these tickets away to.
Yes, we did give tickets away. Last week?
Yes,
last week we gave tickets away?
Last week we gave the tickets away.
And I'm going to try to do this off the top of my head. I believe Camden was the winner. I'm supposed to meet up with him later, so congratulations.
Camden, come on down.
Don't forget to grab your raffle tickets from the bar to enter a set of free tickets to next week's game. Don't forget.
Yes, buy your first drink and you get a ticket. I believe that's
Turner
how we're doing it.
Hanigan sent you.
The Bronco Alumni Show sent you.
Turner and Hanigan. That sounds like a cop show.
Well, that's actually, we got one in the works here. So if this doesn't work out, don't worry about us. We'll be fine.
Right. Perfect.
Yeah, that's correct.
So Bart, let's talk a little bit about, since you're a quarterback, let's talk about what you saw last week with Hank Bachmeier.
Who? Bachmeier?
Yeah.
Yeah, very impressive. And I don't know if it's just this day and age where, and certainly that has a lot to do with it. Kids that are getting more defined in what they want to do in terms of athletics, and 20 years ago, back in our day, Mr. Turner, that was kind of a rare thing to be just so focused on one sport and specifically one position. And so these athletes, and specifically these quarterbacks, are coming in to college football so much more prepared and about the knowledge of the game and the skill set and the physical aspects that are needed to play quarterback, that it's not so rare anymore to have a freshman come in and start playing, a true freshman.
Just to give Hank some credit, he had the wherewithal to graduate a semester early so he could come out for spring ball.
Yeah,
and then be here all summer. That's
a
right
big
there
head start.
Just shows you the kind of commitment and dedication this guy had.
Certainly a head start. I know he's a bit older. I understand he's a 20-year-old freshman, so that's a
little maturity there.
There is some maturity from. I tell you what, from 18 to 20, I know in my time, just physically, it was certainly was a lot better. But I was very impressed with the way he handled himself. And I know there's the talk about how many times he got hit and was able to step up and make some good throws, and those are the things that you have to be able to do as a quarterback, and to be successful, you got to hang in there tough and do your thing. The things that I really focus on, and especially when I'm looking at a quarterback, is the stuff that goes on in between a play, and it's kind of that. And I can't really explain it. It's just you just know it. It's one of those things, and you can't really coach it either. It's more of like, well, maybe it's a body language thing. It's how does he react to maybe a bad throw, even a good throw, or getting slammed with your helmet knocked off. It's how does a quarterback manage himself after those kinds of plays and in between huddles? And those are the things that I really kind of focus on, especially for a new guy, and certainly some as they get older. But it really tells a lot about how they're going to play and how they're into the game and what their mindset is. And Hank Bachmeier has it. You can tell that he's focused. He's in it. He's okay with the good plays and the bad plays, and kind of that even keel. And that's what I was one of the things I was very impressed with watching him perform out there. And it's Florida State. I mean, these guys are animals. I mean, Florida State could be good or bad. They have tremendous athletes. It's just that's the state of Florida. It's like Florida and Texas.
And don't forget California.
No offense to California, but they just tend to be bigger and faster down there.
Definitely true.
And so to be able to get slammed a few times by some of those big boys, it's gonna leave a mark. And it looked like I saw a brief video of him high-fiving fans as they all do, as the players all do when after the game, especially the ones that make the trip. And he was hobbling a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell that he took a beating. And I tell you what, it feels so much better when you walk out of there with a victory versus a loss. I mean, you kind of relish in the fact that you got beat up. It's like you left a part of you out there, and that's always a good thing.
Bart Hendricks, former BSU quarterback, joining us. Just wanted to mention that again. Some great insights at the quarterback position. I just want to say that Hank and the team, for that matter, looked extremely focused last night while Carolyn Gusman was talking to them in the football room yesterday. I mean, there was not a single one of them that was, fiddling with their phone or yawning or anything. Everyone was locked in. And
were you there?
Yeah,
Did you attend that?
We had the
conversation.
The fortune to actually be invited to go check that out. So
yeah, I saw a few mentions on social media about it, and it seemed like an emotional thing. It certainly was an emotional moment for me because obviously, Jason, we were there. We witnessed what had happened to Paul Reyna, and 20 years ago, I still have some vivid memories from that time. So it was special to have her. It's special to have her back in town.
Absolutely.
And
I
ju-
would
ju- I
just like to
wanna-
ask you to touch real quick on, because I like to highlight the fact that how that event, that tragedy, really solidified our team
Yeah.
as a group of like brothers, basically.
Sure.
You just touch on that real quick.
Yeah, and it's I think sometimes it's nothing new. I think in terms of like people coming together and
Around a
making
tragedy.
around a tragedy and make something really positive about it, as negative as it was. The best thing and the only thing we really could do is just continue to move forward and continue to fight for what we were capable of doing. And I think we had inklings of being a good team. There's no doubt about that. But that certainly added on to the fact that we can do like an extra fire, I guess, or an extra motivational thing to stay a little more focused, to maybe run that extra lap or do that extra film study or whatever the case may be. So and it eventually turned into something pretty magical. And obviously you touched on it. That 1999 year was we'd won the conference and went to our first bowl game as a Division I school and won that bowl game. Of course, it was on the blue. It was still kind of a home game, but that's all we were going to back then.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we were going to be able to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd have been nice to see what I think we were 10-3 that
Well,
year.
yeah, and that's the thing is we started off with those 3 losses,
like in the
a
first
row.
couple games. Yeah.
3 games. We're just like,
Yeah,
we're trying to pick our heads up because
Yeah.
we just dealt with that tragedy, and then
Really
you
early
remember
in the
the team
season.
meeting underneath the stadium, and then after that it was 10. You guys rattled off 10 wins in a row, and that's probably my favorite season. to be honest with you. Didn't play it
it's
down.
Something you say, I know you, I know because you were redshirted, and
Yes.
you obviously came in with Paul, and I'm sure the people listening know that you were high school teammates, right? High school
Yes.
teammates and friends. So
Yes.
obviously there's a very special connection personal connection for you. But that 99 season, I look back on it and it was. I think I hate to say this, but I almost enjoyed it more because it was like the first time, right? It's like the first time you taste like cheesecake or whatever, something that you really like.
Something
it's like,
new.
Yeah, something new. It's
I
like
love
the first time you
cheesecake, man.
taste it, it's like, okay, now you're trying to chase it. And don't get me wrong, the 2000 team, we were a better team. We had a better season. We probably should have went undefeated. We just didn't have the mentality, I think, to wrap our brains around being able to do that. But that's hearsay. But that 99 team certainly had a special feeling about it because it was the first time, and it had a lot of excitement behind it. Being in a bowl practice, and even though it's wet and cold, and those things didn't really matter
Well,
because
you get that
were
extra
in
game, right?
Yeah,
you
exactly.
Get extra football, and
Yeah, and
was it the first time you played that late into this? Obviously,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
practicing in December.
Well, for me personally, absolutely. I know Boise State's certainly not. Is certainly used to doing that sort of thing when they were, making national championship runs and being in the playoffs. But certainly there's a unique feeling about being able to go to a bowl game, and there wasn't as many bowl games as there are now. So looking back on it, it might have been even more special. So
Yeah, I think the humanitarian was one of those first ones to kind of pop up out of nowhere. The H Bowl. It was kind of
H-Bowl.
a small one.
it was kind of a small
And
one.
it was
and
new. I mean, when was it
I
founded?
think
98?
I think it was 97.
97 was the first
first one. Gosh, I can't believe I remember this, but I believe Utah State won that, and then 98 Idaho won it, which that was the last time a starting quarterback named Bart Hendricks and had lost to an Idaho team was in 1988. So there you go. But
I'd like to apologize on
So
our
who was
behalf
the-
for bringing that up.
Yeah, see, because I'm having a hard time remember. I remember the locker room before that 99 victory in Pullman. Remember we played the
Idaho
Vandals
up there. Yes.
in Pullman.
Yes.
And I remember Coach Cutter telling us that it didn't have to be close.
Yep.
And I could have sworn that you were the starting quarterback.
I
that
was
game.
the quarterback that
And
game.
but that wasn't the one that broke the streak.
No,
Okay.
No, I was the quarterback of the game, but that wasn't the one that broke the streak.
That's right. That was a little
94.
revenge shot for that Big West Championship game the year before that they beat us at home.
Correct.
So that's why
the
it was
famous
so.
2-point conversion game.
Yeah.
So
that's
let's
right.
just clear. You have beaten the Vandals, correct? That's as a
Yes,
quarterback. Okay.
as a starter, I am 3-1 versus the Vandals.
Well, that's maybe what we should have highlighted over there.
Which
huh?
I wish here. Okay, now I'm going to stroke my ego a little bit. It's like looking back on just since I started playing quarterback, and the success of quarterbacks that we've had, not one of them has played Idaho 4 times. Not
Wow.
one. I did,
Okay.
and I was 3-1, and I could have been the last. That could have been my last true stat to hold on to. It would have been a nice 4-0 victory versus the in-state rivalry.
But the 2-point
rival.
conversion got you.
But the 2-point conversion game got me. So hats off to the Vandals for that game. And to that time, I look back on that game, and maybe it was just meant to be, because I remember walking off that game going, "You've got to be kidding me! I cannot believe we lost this game." Given the opportunities that we had, I think we missed a few field goals. I know we fumbled on the 1-inch line. Like literally he's going to score, and poor Aaron Hurley had slipped through his fingers, and he fumbled, and we went into overtime. We score first, we score a touchdown. Obviously they score and make the 2-point conversion. But we had a lot of opportunities, and that's just to name a few. And it bums me out that it ended up like that. But looking back on it, maybe that is exactly what needed to happen to kind of light a fire under everybody, to just say, like, we're better than this. We need to, we'll come back ready to go for that following season. And we did.
So that's where that came from Cutter, that it ain't got to be close mentality. Because
No.
if we would have just taken care of the ball a little bit the year before, then your perfect record against Idaho would still be
that'd
intact.
been nice. I would have relished in that one. And I would have been hard pressed to go back in time.
Yeah.
Because I think the first time Boise played, it was Boise Junior. No, it was Boise College. Played Idaho. It was like early 70s, and they put a whooping on them. They did. And the 70s, it was kind of a back and forth in terms of the rivalry win games. But I'd have to look back at the records, but it'd be hard pressed to, I think, find a quarterback that had played Idaho 4 times at first, and then, of course, winning all 4 of them. So I think Idaho has a few, but I don't think Boise State has a starting quarterback. And let's be honest, as a starting quarterback, I hate the fact that they compare win-losses for the starting quarterback.
Well, you take all the heat and you take all the credit, right?
Right. It's like too much and too little. But if they're going to attribute those stats to the quarterback, I will certainly own it and be proud about the fact that my 4 starts versus Idaho, I had that 1-point loss in 98.
Let's not focus on the losses. Let's
Well,
focus
yeah,
on
let's
the
just
wins.
recap.
Because I remember
But they were
that,
important.
that Humanitarian Bowl in '99 was impressive. I'll never forget you running away from the entire Louisville defense,
Okay.
making them look like they were in slow
That
motion.
was UTEP. You're getting your ears back.
Oh,
It's close.
man.
Yeah, you're so close.
Ah.
But UTEP was the game that I had a long run. Don't get me wrong. I tried
fact
to run
checker.
away from Louisville, but UTEP the following year, yeah, I had.
Still impressive if you ask
So just
me.
to recap, we're joined by Bart Hendricks, the only guy to go start 4 years against Idaho. Also, you won the national championship game, and I believe you were MVP. And let's
MVP,
keep going on.
And then I won my Super Bowl ring.
That is, if anybody wants to fact check that,
Yeah,
we dare you to come
exactly.
down here and challenge us.
Yeah,
So.
there you go. Fact check Boise State history. I got to be honest with you. My job, though, and I was in the athletic department before I moved across campus, if you will, to take a different position. But I was in the athletic department and overseeing our varsity B, which is our athletic alumni group. So I was able to dive into the history books a little bit, and one thing's for sure, football program has its history pretty intact. I mean, there's a lot of literature out there. There's a lot of things you can look up, and when you're communicating with some of the former players and some of the former players that played during the Boise Junior College days, we're talking the 50s and 60s, you start looking at stats. You start looking at what Boise State has accomplished as a football program, and you start seeing names and numbers and that sort of thing. So I'm kind of a closet Boise State football know-it-all, if you will, just because I'd been able to research it and not intently, but just come across things and just happen to remember it. So.
Well, we have a job opening for a fact checker for us.
Yeah, if that thing over at the college doesn't work out.
Something like you'd be right up your alley.
Yeah, I'd have to do some. My memory slips on a few occasions, but
maybe we could just call him and he can correct us from the last show.
Yeah.
And teach us all a little lesson.
Go. It's kind of what's the show on ESPN where they have the fact checker at the end. So yeah, there's always the. It's good to know. You need to get your facts straight. So yeah, but yeah, we even get a little music in the background too.
I know we have some music
atmosphere.
now.
Yeah.
I didn't have any idea. Apparently, they're trying to cover us up.
Yep, they're shutting us down.
We can talk louder.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Jason, you want to take it?
No, you go ahead.
You want me to take it?
Yeah.
I don't even know if I have a question right now, so I'll just kind of wing it here. Well, like I said, we're joined with Bart Hendricks, three-time Super Bowl champion.
Super Bowl champion.
Actually, didn't you spend some time in the Canadian Football League?
I did. I was up there 3 years with the Edmonton Eskimos. I really enjoyed that. I didn't play a whole lot, but certainly had a good time up there and enjoyed my experience up there. And our team won a Grey Cup championship, which is their Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. I believe that was 2003. So I guess I have that thing to hold on to and talk about.
Did they give you a ring for that, actually?
Oh, yeah, I actually did. I got a ring. I was on the sideline.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Brad Phillips calling in right now. You want to say hi to Brad, Bart?
Mr. Phillips.
All right, hold on. Here we go. Hello, this is the Bronco Alumni Show. You're live. Is this Brad?
This is Brad Phillips here.
Oh,
what's up, Turner?
Hey, Brad. How you doing? Say hi to my co-host, John Hanigan, and then your old buddy, Bart Hendricks.
John, good to talk with you. Bart, long time, buddy. Hope you're well.
I am well, sir. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, and I'll just warn all three of you guys right now. I'm a little keyed up, so if this thing gets away from us, just alert. Super excited to be chatting with you. I got a crosstown rival high school football game I'm coaching in here in about 5 hours, so
there you go.
I'm flying high.
Brad, you're back in Kelso, I understand, right?
Yep, back in Kelso.
Back in the hometown.
Yep. Exactly. Coaching at my alma mater, which has been fun, and there's an added bonus this year. My son's a freshman, and he's playing his first varsity game tonight. So.
Oh boy.
So yeah, you can imagine things are excited where I'm at. But
that young man is a freshman. He looks like a freshman in college, dude. He's a beast.
He's trying.
Does he have his dad's funny gene? Come on now. I mean, Brad, I gotta. Yeah, you're one of the funnier people that have been in a locker room. So, I don't know.
He's early in the game, but
he's early in the game. Not enough life experiences yet.
Yeah, I tell you, he gets. It's sarcasm, right? So if he gets it from me, maybe I don't find it as funny because I'm bad. But I think other people are proven.
he didn't grow up in the Chris Farley era. Is what happened.
But he knows him. I'm not raising a dummy, Bart.
Yeah, there you go.
Very well aware of what Tommy Boy means.
Yes, it's near and dear to our hearts. Those that went to high school in the mid '90s.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So we're still waiting on Carolyn Reyna to get into the on location here, Brad. Okay. How much time are you going to have? I mean, we can stretch this out till she gets here, and you can say hi if that's how you want to work it.
I'm fine with that. I'm sitting in my squad car, and I got the radio down. So as long as
nice.
As long as nothing crazy happens, I think I'm good. I'm in it for the long haul, guys.
All right, we dig it.
Joined by Brad Phillips. This is John Hanigan, just to let you know. Brad, this is what I know about you. Number 55, defensive tackle. Is that correct?
So far, so good.
So good. Okay. Well, at least we got that one right, huh,
How many
Turner?
Super Bowl championships did you win? Tell them how many Super Bowls you won, Brad.
I was listening in. I was hoping there'd be some fact checking. You're going to have to get ones on me.
We get to say whatever we want.
It's an open book, Brad. Just let it fly. Just let it fly.
I do have a question for you, Brad, though. Did you happen to catch the game last week?
You know what was great about catching the game last week for me? So I was coaching in our inter-squad scrimmage at the same time kickoff for the Broncos happened. So
9 in the morning your time, right?
Yeah, so curiosity got the best of me when we were finishing up around 11:40, and I had to check the score, and I thought, well, hey, we're only down 5. All right, guys, let's go. Finish strong. And I had no idea we were obliterated in the first half. So my memory of the game last week was we played great and we got it done in the end and go Big Blue, right?
Exactly.
Of course, I watched the clips and the highlights, and the first half did not go our way. So it was great to see those guys bounce back, and you like to see your alma mater, have some grit about them, especially week 1 down there. So that was really neat to see those guys get it done.
Yeah, I mean, I only got to saw the first part of the game because we were doing the show, and then I had to go take over and babysit.
Oh,
Yeah.
So we played opposites.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I think I'd rather be me in that one.
Yeah, you win.
Yeah.
Brad, you were obviously a defensive lineman, and have you? I mean, you probably watched some games last year, and and specifically, I mean, I'm probably going to talk about Curtis Weaver here, but what kind of things are you seeing? I mean, it's just a different. At least for me, it's just like there's a different quarterback. I mean, they're just so much better than I ever was. But what do you, when you pay attention to the D linemen, what are the things that you're seeing and focusing on, and what do you like, dislike, that sort of thing?
Well, I think the easiest thing to kind of pick on is how crazy athletic these kids are and how much of a hybrid type player you're seeing, especially with those guys up front. I mean, they are so fast and agile and can do so many things, and you see them, on all their different schemes. And of course, I don't know it all in terms of what they're doing, but the biggest thing that jumps out is from the era that I played, where you wanted a nice run stopper in the middle to clog an A gap and take 2 O linemen up and let guys like Brian Johnson run crazy. You're seeing everybody kind of sharing in that role of being able to 2 gap play, which is not easy to do. And so, I'm just watching the front and how those guys play. I mean, that's the thing that jumps off to me first. But they look to be like they were in great shape to be down in that heat and to finish the way they did and against that team. A huge tip of the hat to Coach Pitt and the crew to get those guys ready because week 1, you see the guys cramping, and I'm sure we'll see that tonight up here even at the high school level. So that part, to me, to see those guys ready to rock. And to do all of what they're asked as an interior defensive lineman, and to see them get it done, that was awesome.
Yeah, they're super. I find myself more enjoying the defensive side of the ball more so than the offensive side of the ball, and I think it's because I focus too much and I want some good things to happen on the offensive side of the ball. That where defense, maybe I'm just a little more relaxed, but I can appreciate. Yeah. I appreciate the mentality of especially this defense, the athletes that they have, and I find myself enjoying the defensive side. Like, okay, now we're on defense. We're gonna score some points on defense even.
Right.
And
you can do that.
Yeah. So they're exciting to watch. At least I find, and that's been lately. That's certainly been lately. So it's been fun to watch our defense. Perform.
They do seem to not be short on having a good time, and I think that's a huge piece to momentum. And when you're down the way they were, to be able to turn something around, it's it takes one crack, right, to get that thing going. And a lot of teams will look to their defense to do that. And I think if the Broncos do that, and these guys are handling that, then I think we got a shot to grab momentum and go in the event we need it. Now, obviously, we don't want to get down 3 scores early every game, but if the defense can both prevent scoring and create momentum and get that kind of mojo going, man, that's what defense is all about.
Okay, everybody. Brad, we've just been joined by Carolyn Gusman, Paul Reyna's mother, right here on location. Is there anything, we all know who she is. You remember that talk in the Student Union building all those 20 years ago?
Oh my goodness, absolutely.
Yeah. Carolyn, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, you just got to get right up on the microphone and talk. So we can make sure we got a good check on you.
Okay, here I am. Thank you.
Okay, there she is. Okay.
We want to hear your words of wisdom.
Carolyn, thanks for coming on the show. We have Brad Phillips from the 99 team on the phone right now, calling in. We have Bart Hendricks from the 99 team. A little bit of a reunion, if you might say.
That it definitely is.
Yeah, and Carolyn got in yesterday afternoon, had a chance to talk to the team last night, and she's here going to be a team captain. She's joining us on the podcast to talk about I don't know, whatever she wants. The show's about the show's all about our guests. So I'm not going to tell her what to say. She's in charge of the show now.
It's her show. Should we move the camera? I'm going to get up and move the camera so we can get a better shot of her.
Okay. I got a question for you, Carolyn. It's so nice to see you, though. Man, it's great to have you here.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
So it's been 20 years, right, since
Yes.
you've been back? So what did you think of, what was the biggest difference that you saw just in terms of the campus, obviously the football stadium? I mean, what kind of just jumped out at you instantly?
Well, first of all, let me clarify. It's been about 19 years since the last time I was here because I got invited to come up to a banquet for you fellows, and then I was asked to stay on because of the cross, to save the cross. Someone wanted to take the cross down, and Boise said no. But so I attended that, and but since I've been back, and the first thing I took is, boy, has Boise grown.
Oh yeah,
it
absolutely.
is grown. It's still a quaint town, but it's like a quaint metropolis now. Let's put it that way, okay?
Yeah, isn't that the truth?
Yes.
Yeah, in our small little airport, which keeps getting bigger, but still relatively small.
It's not that small. I mean, when I was here 20 years ago, it was small, but not small anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's so happy to have you here.
Thank
I know
you.
that you got a chance to talk with the team yesterday.
Yes.
And I saw some pictures from that, and and I saw the pictures on social media, and I got a little choked up about it. But I don't know. I mean, some people are just able to do those sorts of things. I mean, can you maybe briefly say what you had talked about to the team and kind of maybe the background and the story? Is that what you did?
Well, they asked me to speak to the team, and I guess just in general, I kind of thought, okay, I'm going to jot my thoughts down on paper and write out something. But I kind of remembered the last time I talked to the team.
Yes.
That was totally unscripted and totally unprepared for, and I just said, you know what, you're going to have to speak from the heart.
Yeah.
You have to speak from the heart, and just take the moment, and you'll know what to say. Kind of like when you just see your eyes lay on those boys, you'll know what to say.
Yeah.
So I kind of just gave him just a little idea of who Paul was as a kid growing up. What kind of boy he was, just kind of all-around general fellow he was. And then, I shared with him little things like he was a little too big to, he loved football, but he loved all sports, and he kind of excelled in all sports. But he was just a little too big to play football down where we lived.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, sometimes height and weight and age all matter down there, and I'm sure it does everywhere. So he wasn't allowed to play football. But afterwards, I told him it would come to his advantage one day, and it sure did in high school.
Carolyn, do you remember how much overweight he was? Because I had that same issue.
Coming from his best friend,
I had to run around
of course he would bring
the
that
park
up.
with plastic bags covering me to sweat off the weight in order to play every year.
That he did. It was heartbreaking because while I would see the other kids out there practicing with their parents in the lounge chairs, I would see my son running around with trash bags wrapped around him with sweats, and this is the middle of summer as well, August. And I thought, there's something wrong here. So, you can relate to what he was going through. But as far as his weight was concerned, because of his age, he was always in the group level above that he was supposed to be, but his age didn't correlate with his size-wise. So
I was the only 11-year-old I knew that was on like a Weight Watchers diet.
Yeah, something like that.
Eating lean cuisine, frozen meals every night for present to shave off 6 pounds.
And he did lose about 20-some odd pounds.
Oh, wow.
To try to make it into the age bracket that he was supposed to be in, but he got really sick, and so the doctor said, no, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. So, but it
well,
paid off.
you guys paint a grim picture. They just put a black stripe on our helmet, like a cone of shame, and you just had to walk around. Don't touch the football, kid, and thing growing up. So trash bags. I can't imagine.
But as I told him, that height and weight and everything, his love of football would pay off, and it did in high school, and later on in college, it paid off. Yes.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, Carolyn, I'd just like to, if I could, I'm just honored that you're here and I'm talking to you, and I can't believe it's been 20 years. And I'll tell you right now, I was brought in '97 with Houston Nutt in his one-year stint. So I was there a little bit before Paul, but being a D lineman and sharing, Bart, you'll remember the old meeting rooms
Yes.
under the stadium,
Yep.
and being around Paul quite a bit in his first part of his career. It was a complete, and this is an understatement, but a complete gut punch to have, that event go on as a youngster for me. And I'm very young in my class. I was only 19 years old. Graduated at 17. But at any rate, to be that young and have an event like that happen with somebody that was sitting next to you in meetings one day, and then they're just simply not. And to go through the wonderful memorial service where you and his father had spoke, and it has always stuck with me how incredibly tough that was, and to go through, and how amazing you guys were and how you handled it. And even 20 years later, I'm getting chill bumps talking about it, just to go through that. I'm now a father, and these guys hurry on. My son's playing in a varsity football game for the first time tonight, and you just don't wish to ever hear about it, go through it, or see it. And the fact that we were so close to something so tragic, it has always stuck with me. And I think I told Jason this, but the lapel pin that they handed out with Paul's name and in memory of and his number, I have to this day have never separated that from my bull ring from that year. In that case that it sits, and I won't ever, because to me it is so much a part of that season and what we accomplished as a team, and what we were able to do with just having Paul's memory with us. And it's just an honor to talk to you and be able to actually say that to you.
Thank you for the kind words. Thank you so much.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Was that the year they took the picture where they left the space? We looked.
Yes, they left the empty space between Brett Thompson and Jeff. Was it Jeff Kopp was 94, I believe?
Kopp was number 94. Yeah.
Yep. And so that space was empty in honor of Paul.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it just kind of signifies the hole that he left in our team, really. And
no question. And to see the change that team's gone through over the years, when we've seen it being kind of the old guys now, and it'd be easy to move on and not honor that, and they simply have not. Coach Arson's done a great job, and it makes me even more proud to be a Bronco to know something like that is still kept in high regard. And the fact that Carolyn's able to talk to the team, I just think that is so cool.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Brad.
We still have some of those pins available. As a matter of fact, Jason's going to be handling that aspect for us, but the pins do mean a lot. So for those that didn't get any, check with Jason.
Yeah, I still have mine. It's pinned to my varsity jacket.
Oh.
Sitting in my closet. It's pinned to my varsity jacket.
Wow.
Yep, still have it. Carol, let me ask you this. I know because you have famous words. You know that, right? It's in the football facility now.
Yeah, so I've seen and heard.
Yes, to go out and win championships. I mean, at the time, certainly seems just some powerful thing that you say and it's certainly a tragic moment. But I of course, I'm going fact check me here, but I think we've won 13 or 14 championships since that time. So it's been. Could you even fathom something like that? I mean, to have the success of the program, not only just internally with the championships, but we're nationally famous.
Yes.
People know the Bronco logo.
That they do. And that's thanks to the hardworking young men and coaches here at Boise State. So, the caller just said something earlier about what we as a family went through. But at the time that I gave that talk and addressed the players on the team, I was coming from the thought as a mother what they were going to have to go through. And that was they were going to have to go out and play this game that obviously had taken my son's life. But as I try to point out even yesterday, that, don't take life for granted, that anything can happen to you at any given time. Cherish the moment, treasure the moment, seize upon the day, make it the most, because you don't know what can happen. And it doesn't necessarily have to be football. It can be a car accident. It could be stepping off a curve and falling down the wrong way. So my talk to the boys that 20 years ago and yesterday was, even though you are playing this game, and yes, it has risk involved and so forth, but you know what? Don't be afraid. Be not afraid. And if you're going to play, then take all the experience you had prior to this, and with the training that you're receiving here at BSU from the coaches, and take everything that you gathered, bond as a group, and go out there and say, we got one mission, one drive, and that's what we're going to strive for. So it doesn't have to take adversity. And unfortunately, in this particular incident, it took adversity and took tragedy to have such a, what came out of it was a championship. So many positive things came from it. But, 20 years later, you can still eat from that and still, take it and run with it.
Yeah.
And being that the spirit has lived on here in Boise with the memory of Paul and those championships, it means it's ongoing. So as I told the boys, yesterday, go out and win a championship again and again and again. So we're counting on it.
We like that. Well, speaking of sons, I have to take off. I got to go pick up my little guy because I got to pick him up from school. But it's so great to have you
Thank
here,
you
and
so
I'm
much.
so happy to see you come back and
Thank you so
represent
much.
your son
Been
here
great.
as honorary captain.
It's been a real joy, an honor, a blessing, everything. And just one thing, and that was, somebody had asked about coming back. I needed to come back home. One person has many, many homes, and you have your church home, you have your job home, you have your community, your neighbor, different types of homes. And Boise is definitely our home, so it's good to be back home.
That's great.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you, Bart. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much,
Bart Hendricks, four-time starter against Idaho, 3-1. Not a bad winning percentage. Thank you.
Super Bowl championship.
Ray
Cup
Cup
champion.
Super Bowl ring next time, Bart. I want
You
to
want
see
to see
that.
that?
I have mine.
Brad, how you doing? You still there?
Yeah, I'm still
Okay,
here.
I just wanted to make sure that we're not holding you up for too much time. Feel
Nope,
free to
not
duck
at
out
all.
whenever you have to, but we'll have you on as long as we can.
Great.
So, what's going on with you? How's Kelso looking this year? Are you
Kelso's
coaching?
good.
Are you coaching that team?
Yeah. I'm the defensive line coach, and as I mentioned earlier, my kid's he's cracking into the varsity stuff tonight as a freshman. So I've got a lot of pride, and it's a weird combination to be a coach and be in charge of football and the football stuff, and then somehow be proud dad somewhere in there. So we'll see how I do. I got a feeling I might take a lot of this angst out on the poor referees, which is classic anyway for me. But we lost a lot of linemen, so we'll see how we do up front. We've got some good skill guys back, so we'll see. The team we're playing is a crosstown rival game, so it'll be very charged up tonight. So we're excited.
He's an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman. Is he playing both sides?
Yeah, exactly. He'll play both. He's an interior guy, and he will play both sides of the football for us. Who knows if he's lucky enough to get a chance to go on, which side he'll land. He actually likes offense a little bit more, if we're being honest, which kills me. But, it's his turn, not mine, and I get that. And so we'll see. But
He's a smart kid, obviously.
yeah, he is. I'll give that to him.
Okay, so
his room is Boise'd out, so maybe that'd be an option. Be cool to have a legacy there.
So I just got this information pulled up in front of me real quick because we are trying to turn this weekend into a bit of a fundraiser. We're trying to boost the Paul Reyna Scholarship Endowment Fund a little bit. It hasn't moved too much in 20 years, so we would just like to ask anybody listening, anybody in the bar that wants to donate to a good cause. There's two phone numbers I have. There's 208-426-3556, or you can call or text Brian McMartin down at the BAA at 208-830-9186. You can call and make donations via credit card there, or if you need to write a check and carry it down to the BAA in the Hall of Fame, or mail it in, we have you can make that out to the Paul Reyna Endowment Fund, or just the BAA and tag Paul Reyna in the memo line at the bottom. Those are only payment options at this time. I just wanted to take a minute to ask everybody to call in, send those checks in, donate anything you can, because these scholarship endowment funds are what fund the player scholarships on the team, so that way we can field such an amazing team every year. So again, that's we're using the fundraiser slogan, $95 for number 95. We suggest a $95 minimum donation in honor of Paul's number being number 95. But any donation that can be made.
Or $9.50 if you're broke.
Yeah, $9.50 or 95 cents or $1.95, $2.95 increments. Just throw 95 in there. Anything you can do to really put Paul's spirit in that donation and raise some money for that endowment fund. We're trying to get that to be the first one, or the biggest one anyways. That's something that we're going to try to push for the remainder of the season. And we'll get better at doing that. We're going to be putting links up and establishing our own not-for-profit organization as well to help manage some of those funds and stuff. So just putting that out there, everybody. Bring your generosity and your checkbook. Come down, see what we can do.
All right, we're joined by our very special guest, Carolyn Gusman. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Yes. I rehearsed that, so I'm very proud of myself on that. You gave a speech to the team yesterday. Me and Jason got to witness it. I think that speech applies not only to football but to life. I took a lot from that speech, but I just wanted to hear about your thoughts on that, and I just also wanted to point out, and I guess this is a credit to Coach Harsin. I looked up in that room. There's 18, 19-year-old boys. Their eyes wander sometimes. They look disinterested. I know I did when I was 18, 19, but I'd like to say yesterday, not one eye was not focused, anywhere but you the whole time. So if you want to just go over your thoughts or what you took away from yesterday.
It was quite amazing. Being in the new facility, I know for those of you that live here, it's not a new facility, but for me, it is the new facility. And it was just great to see these young men come in and, knowing that they were going off, obviously, to their hotels and prepare for another day's battle, today's game. But I, too, picked up on the fact that you could hear a pin drop in that room. They were quite attentive. They listened. And afterwards, we had a meet and greet, and the boys were so cordial and very polite. And I got a really sense of them, of some saying, thank you for sending your son to Boise. Thank you for sharing your son. And it was very heartfelt. I was quite touched and honored by being asked to have been part of it. But again, it's, the successes of the program, of the Boise State program, have been building over the years, and now we're 20 years later, and what started as, again, through some tragedy, the whole coaching staff, the whole school has built on that. And it wasn't a one-time fluke that happened just the year that Paul was here. Because if anything, if you look at it, that team could have used that, my son's accident as a good excuse maybe not to have done so well. They could have been fearful. They could have been, pushed back and just said, we're afraid to go out there and something might happen to us. But if anything, they bonded. They said, no, we're going to do the opposite. And, I keep getting told after, time after, that it was my challenge to them that inspired them to take that tragedy and adversity out and run with it. And so they could have just said, no, we're too afraid, we're not going to do anything, pass on it, leave it to somebody else. But no, they ran with it, and they took it all the way. They brought home that trophy, they brought home that title. And it could have ended there, but no, it continued.
And I remember in my years after that, and the remaining of my years, one of our most notorious players here at BSU, his name is Jay Swilly, number 1, the wide receiver Jay Swilly, who when times were hard, when Coach Pittman was running us into the turf, and you could tell everybody was out there hurting in a specifically tough workout, that dude would start with the battle cry of, she said championships, like plural, not just one. Like we were tasked to go out and win as many as we possibly can.
Oh, yes.
And we took that to heart.
Because it was not just the class of 99. There were juniors, there were sophomores, there were freshmen on that team, and let's face it, there were some boys that at the end of the school year would graduate and move on. But there were younger guys, such as yourself, Jason, that had to the next 4 or 5 years there at the school that were going to have to constantly, every time you walk on that field, every time you put on the jersey, to remember in playing in that same stadium, maybe for other people elsewhere, even for his school back home. As much as it affected them, it happened up there, not down there where they are. It happened here. So every time you walk into that blue field, and especially if you were those years, but the beauty of it is that the story has been passed down. The legacy is that it's been passed down to the future classes that weren't around when Paul was playing there, and when after all you guys left during those years afterwards, and the championships have continued. So I guess that's the realization, but that's the thing that you kind of wonder, and just you think about how great that the city and the state, the whole state of Idaho, the whole city of Boise, but more so BSU, how they've responded.
I have a question for you, Carolyn. We've heard a lot about the tragedy this week. We've heard a lot about BSU football, but just to step back, kind of what this show is about is about there's more to life than football. So if you wouldn't mind, I'd like you to share maybe one of your favorite stories or a happy story about Paul that doesn't have to do with football and kind of speaks to what kind of person he was outside of football.
Well, I did an interview this morning with the Idaho Statesman, and he asked me something similar along the same line, and that was, I have 4 children, and I love them all equally, but all my 4 children are different from each other, and each of them has their strengths and weaknesses, just as such as Paul. But one of his strengths was just he had a certain thing about him that he was, not to say that my other children don't, but he had a certain way of going out of his way to make people feel special. It didn't matter where we were at, what we were doing. I mean, it could have been any place from a gas station to a laundromat to sitting on a park bench, having dinner at a restaurant, that for those few minutes that he came in contact with the person, he made them feel very, very special. And people were taken by his friendliness, by his warmth, his smile. And I never failed so many times. And one of the memories that I have was many people asking me afterwards, is he always like this? Is he always so kind and friendly? And I would say yes. I would shake my head and just say, yeah, he is that way. And people would say, do you know how lucky you are? And, in the beginning, you kind of just take it for granted that he's just, your kids are doing well, people like them. What more could you ask for as a parent? But when you keep hearing it over and over and over and over again, then you kind of like take note and say, you know what? I'm definitely lucky. And it didn't take me losing him to realize, to know how blessed I was to have him. I had him for a short period of time, but during those 19 years that he lived a life that sometimes people that live to be 90 don't live as full. So
Certainly had obviously a major impact, not only in this community, but your.
Oh yes. His school has honored him in many ways down in La Puente, Bishop Ammon High School, and they have kept me around as well too. So I've been a recipient of the beneficiary of having their love for Paul has been bestowed on me as well too, as it has been here at Boise State.
Can you just remind? I know, but what is your role down there for the football team?
Oh, well, short story. When Paul left, when Paul was going to graduate, they have a program down there where the school feeds the boys prior to the game. It's called their team meal, and a lot of schools have them. They're probably not as traditional and as rigid as ours, but ours goes back a long ways. And so you have a group of moms that come in, group of moms and dads, I should say, come in and prepare a meal for the boys. So I had done it the years that Paul was there, and Jason as well too. So I was lucky enough, and his mom, to prepare the meals and serve the boys and clean up afterwards. So basically, it would be that as your son's now going to leave school, then you leave as well too. So I had done 3 years at that time of heading the program to take care of the boys, and he was going to graduate, so I was going to graduate with him and leave the program. But his coach had come and asked me if I would mind staying on another year. And I thought that was kind of awkward because I'm thinking, why would I be sticking around and cooking and serving the boys when I don't have a son on the team? But his coach reminded me I did have a daughter still left. She was a junior at the time, Ryan. And so I kind of thought, I don't think I want to do that. Only because, I just felt I would feel awkward not having Paul around. But his head coach at the time, Tom Salter, went and told Paul, talk to your mom and ask her if she'll stick around. So now I get the talk from Paul about, Mom, will you, Coach asked me to talk to you about sticking around and helping out another year. And I go, yeah, but, I gave him my reasons for maybe not wanting to do it. And then he told me, Mom, he goes, I think you should stick around and stay and help. Ryan's going to still be at the school, and he said something to me that kind of struck me, and he said, Mom, it'll help get you through. And I thought that was kind of odd and peculiar, but I took it as being that it would help me get through because I wasn't going to be at the practices anymore. I wasn't going to be going to the games left and right and be part of his life that I had become now within the past 4 years of his being there at Bishop Amont. So I thought about it and I said, you got a point. So I decided to stay with the program and for the additional year, not knowing, I guess, in the long run what it came out to be, and that was it helps me get through. So I still continue to do the meals for the boys. They have given me other little odd jobs around the school. I work the pass gate where the VIPs, the referees, the team comes through, where you need some sort of insignia or some card or something to get in instead of paying your way in on my end. And I've been doing that 24 years now. So
Wow.
that's my job at Bishop. And again, because he said it'll get you through, and it definitely has.
This when you were talking yesterday about being retired, but also being busier in your retirement than you were when you were working?
Oh, yes. There's something about, you look forward to retirement. And even when I was working and so forth, I still continue to do the program at Bishop Amont. But maybe it's just getting older. Maybe it's just time is, before I turn around, it's another season. People can look and say, okay, it's the holiday season, but I guess for those of you that are in football, or into sports, period, there are different types of seasons. There's baseball season, there's football season, there's basketball season. So before I know it, it's football season. It happens way, way too fast now. So I think that has to do with me getting older.
Carolyn, it's been a pleasure to have you on the show, I got to say, but unfortunately we got to get wrapped up before this place gets too crazy. Brad, thank you for your time.
Absolutely.
It's been a pleasure.
And I would just want to tell Carolyn thanks again and how much an honor it was to be able to speak with her and hear her talk. And I'm so glad she mentioned Paul's smile, because that is one thing that resonates with me still is that big old bright white teeth smile. And when you think of people and that first impression, that was definitely mine with Paul, and it still hits home. And so truly an honor to talk with you, Carolyn, and it's just amazing to admire your strength. And even though it's 20 years later, you get us old guys together, and here we are, and it just does not seem like that. And so for me, I still view you as one strong, tough cookie. So, congrats on being there and receiving attention on although tragic, this is a big deal to Boise State and to a lot of us. So, anyway, I wanted to say that, and I appreciate you guys having me on, and I'm happy to be on anytime.
Yeah, we'd love to have you on again. Is there any chance? I know the seasons probably overlap, but is there any bye weeks you have any chance to get up here so we can get you live on location at Suds Tavern?
Yeah, we actually do have a bye week. Our Week 8 game got dropped, and so there's definitely a possibility there. And I'd love to take my kid out and show him how the growth has been. He's been out to the youth camp a few times, so he's been there. And but yeah, I'll keep in touch with you, and I'd love to hook up and
love it, Brad.
Meet up with you.
Yeah, we'll have to have you and Derek come in together. That would be a riot, man.
Oh yeah.
Derek Ollie. These two, Brad and Derek, were roommates, and he's in a pod,
roommates,
man.
Yeah, he's the best man at my wedding, and we stay in contact. So yeah, I'm sure he'd be honored as well. So
well, thanks,
set it
Brad.
up, and we'll be there, guys. It was a pleasure. Carolyn, take care. Enjoy the game tonight. And,
Thank you so much.
Go Broncos.
Go Broncos. Thanks, Brad.
Yep. Take care, guys.
Thank you, Carolyn. Again, words can't really describe how much really the whole community appreciates you coming into town, especially our small community of followers that follow our show. We're growing it every week, and I'm sure that this is going to be a big boost for that. And we're going to keep pumping the 95 for 95 all season. That's our main fundraising goal this year. We're going to probably drop in a few extras for people who have causes that come in that they want to raise something for specifically. But just bringing that scholarship fund up to where it needs to be, spreading the word, keeping his memory alive, and keeping these Broncos fired up and ready to play every week. That's our job, really. That's how we see it. So.
Just thank you to the community. Thank you to BSU. Thank you, Jason, and to you, John, as well, too, for inviting my family and myself up here. And again, it's great to come home, and let's go Broncos.
Go Broncos. Final thoughts, John? You want to wrap this up?
Well, final thoughts. We just want to thank everyone over at BSU that has made Carolyn and family visit made you feel very welcome. Obviously starts at the top. Coach Brian Harson, thank you. Coach Jeff Pittman, Director of Football Performance. I know you spent a few minutes with him yesterday. Brad Larondo, the Senior Associate Athletic Director. Taylor Tharp, the Director of Program Development. And also, I think we mentioned him before, but Brian McMartin, the Director of Development, very helpful.
Yeah, I just want to get one final thought out there because I'm real excited to see this young quarterback play in his second game. Last night after the talk Carolyn gave to the team, we were out on the blue, and you could see the storm clouds coming in. It looked like there was a hurricane on the horizon. I think Hurricane Hank's about to make his second appearance in a Boise State football game this year already. So that I'm real excited about that. I want to throw some final thank yous out there. First and foremost, always, I want to thank my wife, Kirsten, my daughter, Ruby, my brand new baby girl, Kennedy, my mom and dad, Daniel and Jeannie Turner, for being our #1 fans and sponsors on this show. They made the trip this week. We're all going to be going to the game. The Paul Reyna family, Steven, Sandy, Ryan, you guys being here in Boise just means the world to us. And Carolyn, of course, you. Thank you so much for making the trip.
Thank you, Jason.
And with that, I think we're gonna sign off.
Well, we also want to thank our sound guy, Jake Holder.
Yes, our sound guy, Jake
and also
Holder.
Ross, Bernie, and Caitlin, who've been so gracious to host us here at Suds every week. So thank you very much to them. Come on down to Suds.
Come on down to
Put
Suds.
the phone down and get down here and have a drink.
We're still going to be giving raffle tickets away, so that drawing's going to be going on sometime here before game time. You have to be present to win, though. So when you come and get your ticket, you got to stay till we draw them. Otherwise, you're not going to win. But other than that, I think we're ready to wrap this up.
All right.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Carolyn.
Thank
you to our guests, Brad and Bart. And we'll be back next week for Portland State, right here at Suds Tavern.
Thank you. Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.
Broncos.